Hello, everyone, and welcome to Moonride. I am back from my fantastic trip with fantastic people. I am here on this sad day to talk a little bit about the gun violence in the United States. First, I'd like you to all take a moment to send love out to those people who are very much suffering, parents of those who died, friends, all of those people really need your love right now. So just take a moment and send that to them in general. Uh, the question today is, what can we do to end this incredible scourge on our society? I'll let you know that in Australia, there are no mass shootings because there are no guns. It's very difficult to get a gun. Politicians lost their jobs making sure that the gun ban would be enforced. And when they were asked, they said, it's more important to save human life than to have my job as a politician. Let's see what Spirit has to say about this gun violence. Effectively, we as a society, we have to see this again and again and again. And as we see this again and again and again, it is going to force us to take action. We can't just sit on the sidelines and hope that things will get better. We're going to have to get out and vote, among other things, and get out and vote for lefties. Right-wing people are not going to help in any way. There is no compromise that's going to satisfy them. And on the positive, if we can find any positive here, it is that people will be inspired to act. What could move us more than school children being murdered in their classrooms? So that emotional movement is, I feel like bringing us together more. Now, I'm going to ask these questions about Spirit. Is this really going to be different? I mean, we've had this happen again and again. Is this going to make a difference? I get a yes. There's something about this specific case at this specific time that feels a little bit different. Maybe it's a cumulative effect. Maybe it's the specific location, etc. Maybe it's a situation where there was somebody with a gun who was supposed to protect the children and they couldn't do it. So why is this different? Can we know more about that? It's a cumulative, it's just violence after violence after violence, in the election during Trump years where they, the Congress shifted to a Democrat, that was a collective. It was violent attack after violent attack after violent attack. It wasn't just one. It was a wave of violence. We might argue it's really unfortunate that we have to have this wave. One child should have been enough. One adult should have been enough. But that is not the time we live in. The time we live in, we have to really collectively act. We have to be very strong in our actions. We can't let politicians get away with glib lines about thoughts and prayers. We have to keep pushing them and pushing them. A really good political strategy would be go to every Republican convention, go to every event where you can get up and ask a question of your leader, pretend you're a Republican to get in, and then make them answer the question and don't leave that podium until they give you an answer. So, make their words will make fools out of them. They will appear the politicians. This protest, silent protest, sit-ins, this will help to change things, but be assured that things are changing. The average person is getting very tired of Republican excuses, and they know that it's about money. Let's ask about the police. I'm wondering if the police are covering up some facts here. That's just been reported. And this is the police in Texas who were there to protect the kids. They arrived a little bit later. Well, here's a difficult situation. You're a police person on the outside of a school. You don't know what's going on in there. You don't know if 100 kids are being held hostage. You don't know if the shooter is ready to negotiate. You don't know if there's 20 shooters on the inside of that school. I don't know if it's fair to blame the police. They simply cannot handle a shooter in a school. It's a situation that shouldn't be there in the first place. There shouldn't be an 18-year-old who can buy guns. That's just the facts. So we keep trying to find people to blame in this situation, and the police are not being entirely honest. They are making themselves look better, but we can argue the situation all day. You know, the police should have done this, the police should have done that. After the fact, we don't know whether that would make any difference or would have been worse. We just don't know. The point is that we should never be in this position. There's no reason for us to have this number of guns here. It is simply a dark force. The people who make profits off guns, what could be a greater epitome of evil as someone who makes money off of dead kids or just dead humans? These people are, they know their contradictions. They spend all day trying to convince themselves that what they're doing is just, but they know their contradictions. So I'd like to give a hopeful message to people on this planet about these guns. There's only a force for good. That generally only takes its true form, its strongest form, if there's another force which is opposed. This is extremely difficult for humans to deal with, for them to understand, because we are, limited by our bodies and human beingness. But one thing that does happen when there is darkness is there is light. And I hope by darkness we understand this has nothing to do with a real color. Darkness has to do with ignorance, has to do with cruelty, has to do with people refusing to know the truth. That is always going to be the case. How bad will it get before the light responds, before people respond? Well, that's always a question. Our American government is no longer a democracy. It is no longer in control of us, but we still have some ways of fighting back. We are not going to just get the democracy back. We are going to have to fight. We're going to have to fight gun manufacturers. And when I say fight, of course, I mean peacefully. We're going to have to rally, do sit-ins, and don't forget, don't let the conservatives distract you from sending light to those who are the survivors. Remember, those who have passed, they have gone to the light. It is those families that have to live with the horrific aftermath. It is all of us who have to watch these horrific images. We are really suffering here. We've got to make this suffering into action. Spirit would just like to send love to all of you and to soothe your hearts at this difficult time. Let the difficulties become action. Thanks so much for watching.